Good evening, everyone. We now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamuzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sume miyoya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no odo no ahagi hara ni misogi hara itamu toki ni narimaseru harai dono kami tachi moro moro no waga goto tsumi kegare yo harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kikoshime se to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami saki hai tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Oshie ni oya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Oshie mi oya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Kam nagara tamachi hai mase Kam nagara tamachi hai mase Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God and Meishu-sama bless you. Teaching this evening from the Daily Inspirations, page 32, is entitled Truth, Virtue, and Beauty. Only deeds of love can bring forth a world completely filled with truth, virtue, and beauty. Paradise on earth will be a world of beauty, a place where the inner hearts of all its inhabitants are just as beautiful. Whose thoughts, words, and deeds are always pure, always beautiful, can surely be considered one who lives in paradise. God's purpose is to create an ideal world where truth, virtue, and beauty reign. Needless to say, the dark forces foster falsehood, vice, and ugliness. Beauty is necessary to the soul, as it brings joy and a sense of wholeness, not only to yourself, but to all who come in contact with it. It can be called a kind of virtue. The higher a civilization is, the more conscious it should be of the value of the need for beauty. It is essential that everyone cultivate a greater sense of aesthetic values. By so doing, not only individuals, but nations as a whole will benefit, making beauty and its expressions in the various phases of life. One of a person's main goals is a contribution of immeasurable value toward the betterment of society, which will certainly serve as a means of furthering the realization of paradise on earth. Beautiful environments make for beautiful thoughts, helping to place a person's mind on a higher plane. This, in turn, reduces crime and other negative actions in society. It must be realized that any teaching that aims at higher ideals should maintain an awareness of beauty. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. This evening, the faith experience I would like to share with you is from Yannick Ribeiro Mosagi. He's from Maputo, Mozambique. Yannick is a Johrei member and he gives service as a missionary at the Central Johrei Center. He was introduced to our church by his father, who is also a Johrei member. The faith experience that he would like to share with us is related to detachment, importance of dedication, and Johrei intensive gatherings in the homes of members and visitors. He finished high school and prepared to take the entrance exams at Eduardo Mondlane University. He took the exam and waited for the result. He said a prayer, putting everything into God's hands. He spoke with a missionary who asked him to do a weekly shift in the Johrei Center every Wednesday and commit to the basic practices of our faith. During this period, he committed to the practice of Johrei and dedication to cleaning the center's restrooms without being attached to the results of the exams. To his surprise, he was not admitted, which made him sad, but he nevertheless thanked God and Meishu-sama. As he couldn't afford a private university, he decided to dedicate this year to preparing for the entrance exams for the following year, and he continued his dedications. Having more free time, he helped with household chores, prayers, and dedication in his home. The missionary Lucas invited him to visit 4 homes of members in the neighborhoods of Laulani and Zona Verde, and to give religious assistance at the local hospital. Thanks to God and Meishu-sama, one of the non-members during these visits was blessed to become a member. His father spoke to his older sisters about his situation, asking for help. At first, they said they couldn't help because they were struggling financially. But They asked Yannick to choose the course and college he would like to study, as they would bear the expenses. Excuse me. Thanks to God and Messiah Meishu-sama. Since March this year, he has been studying computer engineering at one of the best education institutions in this area. Despite the intensive studies he is taking, he continues to do his weekly shift and dedication. With this faith experience, he learned about the importance of surrendering our lives into God's hands and trying to be useful in the divine work. He's getting ready to materialize a special donation of gratitude received. His commitment is to continue to serve in the divine work and deepen in the basic practice of our faith. Yannick is very thankful to the Supreme God, Messiah Meishu-sama, and his ancestors for allowing him to follow this path of salvation. That was from Yannick of Mozambique. And another experience I would like to share is from Ana Cristina Oliveira Azevedo. She's from Manaus, Brazil. Before the pandemic, Ana Cristina dedicated every Monday and Wednesday morning at the Johrei Center. She has been married for 30 years. She has two children with her current husband and an eldest son from the first husband, who died in 1993, when they were already separated. In February 2020, her eldest son and his stepfather clashed, and her husband decided to leave the house. It was a very unpleasant environment as the two did not speak or could see each other as they end up fighting. There was also a lot of friction between her other children, and the atmosphere at home was very troubled. This situation left her very discouraged, and with the arrival of social isolation, she did not have the strength to carry out our practice of faith at home. When talking with her minister, he guided her to channel Johrei daily to her children and herself, study Meishu-sama's teachings daily, and attend their headquarters services online. She endeavored to carry out the guided practices, as well as to practice her monthly gratitude donation. In this way, she was strengthened, and little by little, the interaction between her children was harmonized. In the same period, the minister suggested that she checks the Sorei Saishi, the enshrinement of ancestors, to see if it was up to date. At this point, she realized that she had never requested memorial services for the father of her first child. She immediately contacted the Sorei Saishi volunteer and requested the enshrinement of his spirit and materialized a special gratitude offering. After that, little by little, her husband got closer and came back home. She began to channel Johrei to him every day. He and her eldest son reconciled, and everything came together harmoniously. Her husband and youngest son were inspired to become members and were blessed to receive the sacred focal point Ohikari in July of 2020. Currently, her eldest son lives in another home with his wife and son, but he visits Ana Cristina's family whenever possible, and the family atmosphere now is excellent. From this experience, she learned the importance of praying for the ancestors and maintaining our practice of faith at home. Ana Cristina is very grateful to God and Meishu-sama for her learning and for allowing her to restore harmony in her family. Thank you very much for attending this evening service, listening to these faith experiences. I wish you a very blessed evening, and with this concludes our evening service. Thank you.